Coming up on Mountain News this morning, the 2020 MLB draft began last night, and we'll have some folks from Eastern Kentucky in the mix. And restaurants here in Kentucky will soon be able to expand their capacity, but many owners worry they can't do that safely. Meanwhile, two Eastern Kentuckians came together to write a book with the goal of helping children better understand and cope with the COVID-19 pandemic.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning. It is 5:31 on this Thursday, June the 11th. I'm Will Puckett. Thank you for tuning in to Mountain News This Morning. Got a little bit of rain yesterday. Some people might have seen their power knocked out for a little while, but it wasn't as bad as we have seen it in the past couple of months. So let's bring Brandon this morning, who will give us a better breakdown of what to expect on this Friday Eve. Brandon, good morning.
Good morning, Will, and you're right. It was a fast mover that helped save us from a lot of the trouble and mess that we could have seen with the system. It had some punch with it, but it didn't punch us too hard yesterday. Let's take a look at the cameras this morning. US 119, US 23, just up the road from me in Jenkins, and things are fairly quiet there this morning. No major issues to be reported. The rain moved out early enough. Even the roads are dry. Temperatures in the 60s area-wide this morning, but it is still a bit on the muggy side. You'll notice that as you step out the door, still some air you can wear as you head through the first part of your day. But here's the thing, that humidity is going to start to decrease. Temperatures are going to start to decrease only in the upper 70s today for most folks. Some folks may get to 80, but I don't think that's going to be as widespread as those 90s were yesterday and the day before. We'll talk about the extended forecast coming up in just a little bit. Will?
All righty, Brandon, thank you. Well, there are many words that people can use to describe J.R. Vanhoose at Johnson Central, from a state champion to a Mr. Basketball and even a former Division I athlete. Also, two words that some people may not normally use: history buff. Vanhoose teaches AP US history at Johnson Central and says he uses his knowledge of history not only in the classroom, but also on the court.
That is my passion. And I think when kids feel that you're passionate about something, they try to be a little bit more interested in that. But, you know, I feel that my platform as a former athlete, collegiate player, professional player, has allowed me to really talk a lot about sports history as well. And so, you know, the history aspect of it has opened a lot of doors because, you know, I'm involved with the Mountain Sports Hall of Fame at Wayland, the Kentucky High School Basketball Hall of Fame in Elizabethtown.
His most recent history venture, you might ask, honoring his great uncle on the 75th anniversary of his death in the Battle of Okinawa. We'll have more on this special project in our 6 o'clock hour right here on Mountain News This Morning. Well, the 2020 MLB draft was last night. The draft will have some Eastern Kentucky flavor to it. Not just local prospects could be hearing their name, but with someone who represents those players. Somerset Mayor Alan Keck also runs Keck Sports Management, serving as an agent. Keck representative his first big league player in David Robertson back in 2014. Since 2015, Keck has represented at least one player in the draft every year.
When I was at Western Kentucky, my college roommate, Jordan Newton, was a six-rounder from the Detroit Tigers, and I got to see the process. He was an All-American catcher and had a lot of agents soliciting his business, and I got to sit in a few of those meetings with he and his family, and I was just really intrigued. Becoming an agent checked a lot of boxes for me: sports and competition and negotiation.
I love to hear a former Hilltopper, Mr. Keck there. Now, Keck represented Eastern Kentucky's Aaron Osabine in 2018. The pitcher is currently on the roster for the Great Lakes Loons, an affiliate of the LA Dodgers. Keck has two players into this year's draft. Well, speaking of Keck, Kentucky is continuing to reopen, but the mayor of Somerset says it's not quick enough for some communities. Keck wrote an op-ed for the New York Times, arguing local leaders should be given more authority to reopen their cities, and that reopening shouldn't be a one-size-fits-all policy. Shelby Lofton talked to him yesterday.
There's a new voice representing Kentucky in the COVID-19 pandemic. Somerset's mayor says his city can safely reopen and has done its part to flatten the curve. Just 18 months into his term, this small-town mayor has his own byline in a national publication. Mayor Alan Keck says local leaders should be trusted to make decisions for their communities. He says the number of cases in rural Kentucky counties don't compare to those in more urban areas. Mayor Keck also critiques parts of the shutdown for being, quote, inconsistent. He says he's seen great recovery already, but worries about the long-term effects brought on by widespread closings.
Government closest to the people is best. And I think that when you hear those phone calls, often tears filled, asking to get back to work, many from salon owners, for example, Main Street is pleading, they're begging, and it was my job to fight for them.
Mayor Keck also formed a nonpartisan coalition made up of mayors from all over the state. He says they met virtually and brought their concerns to Governor Andy Beshear. In Somerset, Shelby Lofton, WKYT.
Well, Governor Andy Beshear announced 191 new COVID-19 cases and 7 additional deaths in Kentucky last night. At least 11,883 Kentuckians have tested positive for the virus. The death toll is now at 484. At least 3,375 people have since recovered. There is only one county now with at least one case. That is Robertson. Only 2 counties in our region have more than 50 cases, and that's Jackson and Pulaski. Well, it has been about 2.5 weeks since restaurants were able to reopen at 33% capacity, plus their outdoor seating. Now the governor is preparing to expand that capacity to 50%. However, some restaurant owners say it is near impossible to maintain social distancing at that capacity.
Well, the problem lies in the fact that it has to do with being able to stay within the 6-foot separation, okay? So with that, your area in your restaurant, you may not have room to do that. So 50%, how do you take 50% of the people and keep them 6 feet apart?
Governor Beshear said restaurants will be able to move to 50% capacity 1 month after they opened. For many, that date is June 22nd. Well, a judge has dismissed the lawsuit filed by former Kentucky Board of Education members trying to get their seats back. In December, Governor Andy Beshear disbanded the board and replaced the old board members with new ones. The old members filed a lawsuit saying the governor could not remove them without cause. The judge said yesterday that the old members do not have a constitutional right to be on that board. Well, Pikeville Medical Center is asking women to stay diligent in taking care of their health. The hospital is focused on women's services, saying the pandemic has caused many women to stay home when they otherwise would have come in for their routine checkups. Checkups that OBGYN Tiffany Thompson says are important for making sure women are healthy. She says the hospital is equipped to keep those usual appointments during the pandemic.
We are safe and ready here at Pikeville Medical Center. We provide screening services. We have an all-mask policy. If you're sick, we need to know, but we also need to find things before they are worse.
Thompson says preventative measures are the best way to stay ahead of issues in women's health, but preventing issues requires proper screening. Well, a book written just for kids to understand COVID-19. 2 Eastern Kentuckians decided to write a book to give children a peace of mind and to empower them during a time when they may not understand. WYMT's Emily Bennett talked to the pair about the book that's ready to sell.
The virus had made the littlest hero mad.
Explaining the COVID-19 outbreak to children is not an easy task.
If you want to teach somebody in a family something or share something with a family, pick the children, but in particularly pick that one little child who always follows the rules.
So teacher Hank Jevedon and illustrator Colleen Turner decided to write a book in a simple way children could understand.
And those things were all geared specifically to make a young person feel empowered about their ability to help.
Jevedon had the overall vision and Turner brought it to life.
The color pops.
Yeah, I'm really excited about how that
turned out. That is awesome.
I added some creepier elements to him, some skeleton hands and he had the tattered sleeves and he's a classy virus. So you'll see he's got V cufflinks for villain virus.
The book follows a little hero, excited about the rules and wanting to do good.
In the back of the book, we added a daily vital statistics log so they can take the temperature of people in the family.
In just 5 weeks, the book is now in their hands, printed locally at Hinkle Printing in Corbin.
But it's been a really smooth process, and so I think when you work with the right people, it goes really, really fast.
And now, ready for the next step, putting the book in the hands of children. In Corbin, Emily Bennett, WYMT Mountain News.
Now, we have information about where to find the book on our website. Just look for this story. Well, while the end of the school year was anything but normal, one county superintendent was not only in charge of the health and safety of her district, but of herself. Kim King, the Knott County School Superintendent, is battling cancer. While meetings this time of year to discuss the upcoming school year, King is worried not only about her staff and students' health, but also her own.
I go to chemo once a week, and I see my doctor once a month, and it's not been really bad. I mean, it's worked out well. I've had lots of radiation, lots of chemo, but it's worked well. I've been able to not miss any work.
Weekly chemo treatments in Lexington help keep her healthy cells in check. King's husband was also diagnosed with cancer, but just this week he was declared cancer-free. Well, just ahead on Mountain News this morning, we go to the Red River Gorge, where people can now pay to spend the night in the trees.
It'll be a good weekend to do that, especially as we see some sunshine and much milder temperatures. We'll talk all about it in 3 minutes.